out, very comfortable, and they turn the lights off, and everybody has a rest. It's a wonderful, very civilized aspect of Chinese culture. So the next slide is about Accenture. Everybody here knows that Accenture is one of the most progressive workspace initiators worldwide, also the same in China. No one has a fixed workstation and or office. All spaces are booked online via EMS. So open meeting areas where staff can review presentations and collaborate. Here we've got focus rooms, tons of meeting spaces, and collaborative spaces. Roche Pharmaceuticals, who are working with DEGW, now a member of ACOM, to reimagine their workplace. They were one of the very first rollouts for this new Roche design workspace language was in fact in China. This is just the perspective of that. Citrix employs an unassigned workplace strategy and tries to maintain the open corner concept, which you can see in this slide here. Here in the center, the reception area is the Citrix Lounge, and here beside it, meeting facilities adorned with LED screens so that they can demonstrate their numerous collaborative product offerings. Ogilvy in Beijing, this is a slightly older project. Back in 2006, was awarded the Office of the Year Award by Media Magazine. And interestingly here, the brief for us was, this is an office, but it mustn't look like an office, which was a fantastic brief. It reminded me of, in 1996, when we set up the company, our first client was a hospital who said to us, you've got the design award, but please, it mustn't look like a Chinese hospital. And so here, it mustn't look like an office, but it can look like a gallery, it can look like a nightclub, it can look like whatever you want, as long as it doesn't look like an office. So in fact, here, this is used as the O Gallery, where Ogilvy has a rotating exhibition of paintings. Here, Ogilvy and Mather in Seoul, I think one of our less successful projects, and I was reminded when Lee said there are no gimmicks here, I think we made a mistake by allowing ourselves to fall into a language that's a little bit too gimmicky rather than ruthlessly honest. But it's fun, and I was pleased and relieved to know that one of our competitors took it even further and created a Carnival of Ideas theme for their Guangzhou office. I'm not convinced this is the right direction to go in. And actually, when I spoke to some of my Chinese colleagues and friends about what we're doing in some of these projects, they say, yes, it's fun, it's great, but it's not innovation. It's just decorative. It's sort of fluff. It's great if you've got some extra cash, have some fun, but real innovation has to also solve a real problem. And what's also really interesting is when you speak to the media companies who are, of course, trying to espouse and experiment with innovation, what they're all frightened about is the little guys, the little boutique media firms who are much smaller, on the peripherals, doing really interesting workplaces. And clients of theirs are going to these. So this is by Taranto Creations. And here they've created a whole environment where the work floor is literally also the work desk. And I'll just show you this because I think this is interesting. This is just last month's copy of City Weekend. And here in this, it's rather a bland article, but right on the peripheral, almost metaphorically here, like a fringe, are a series of shared office advertisements. This is co-working. Rough, gritty, small scale, and done in China. This is our office in Shanghai, which again centers around a lounge, which is a collaborative space where meetings are held. And these are always, except for this photograph, occupied. I'm just going to finish up by showing you our Beijing office. What's interesting here is not only that it centers around a lounge that goes onto a garden space here, but that upstairs, when we go up the stairs here, there's a bridge. The bridge is conveniently east-west. So an east-west bridge is metaphorical for us. But at this end of the bridge, we have a spa or a massage room. And at this end, we have a counterpoint to that. Sorry, I'll jump ahead to here. Here's the massage room. And here is a prayer room. China's culture has a very deep 2,000-year-old understanding of civilization having two aspects, material and spiritual. Education, material and spiritual. A human being, material and spiritual. Innovation, material and spiritual. And I think that seeing the whole world, seeing the whole of reality as having this balance of both material and spiritual aspects in harmony with each other, I think is fascinating and profoundly Chinese. Just going back a slide, this is the lounge area Here the lounge being used as an exhibition space as well as a place that is looked onto by stacked meeting rooms. We took 6 workstations just a few months ago, knocked them out and turned it into more collaborative space. My hope is that eventually we'll get rid of all the workstations and it will all be collaborative. But little by little we're making that journey. And 3 predictions to finish up with. Wellness is definitely a language. It's something that's happening now in China. Here we've got an office for What If in Shanghai that is centered around a kitchen where staff cook for each other. Here is a Chinese manufacturing company that make rowing machines for for concept 2 rowing machines. And for years they have tried to get their staff to actually sit on these rowing machines and use these rowing machines, even having financial incentives. It hasn't happened. All of a sudden in the last 6 months, staff are sitting on the rowing machines. They don't have a shower, they don't have a changing room, but in their work clothes, they're rowing. What's interesting about this company is they've also got rid of birthday cakes. They now do birthday fruit. And they also have once a week juicing. So there is definitely a journey in China, especially among women and younger women, who are interested in what's out there in terms of being healthier and happier. Another prediction is togetherness. That's happening all over the world. And here are some of the Asian technologies that we've mentioned. Here is some of that gritty stuff on the edge that shows what's actually happening in terms of social connectivity. Not with LinkedIn, because that's business. But when it comes to social and having friends, the horizontal action is happy and well and thriving. And lastly, I think this is the most significant and most interesting. We've been at, I'd say, 3 different client pitches where the clients have said to us, these are big Chinese companies, this is China State Construction. They've said what we want is usually simple, we want powerful, and we want international. And so this client said to us at a pitch a few weeks ago, they said, so we want international. What's your understanding of international? And I thought, crikey, that's a tricky question. What's my understanding of international? And I remembered 20 years ago when I arrived in China, everything was seen in terms of this dichotomy. Chinese, international. I was the international guy who would be able to speak this language and teach my students at the university where I was teaching architecture what was international design. This dichotomy has now proved to be irrelevant. This is the reality. So I said international means Chinese. And Chinese without international is also no longer modern China. So I think this is the hope for us today, is that we can see China offering innovation that combines the new international, Chinese and international, where there's room for all of us. Thank you very much.